Drivers beginning to make their way upstairs, and well, for Robbie Kerr, that was quite some comeback, John. I mean, there aren't many categories of racing where you get that opportunity to start at the very back of a grid and come through, and of course that tactical choice to make the early pit stop was a key and fundamental part of that.
Well, first of all, you wouldn't take the opportunity to start at the back anyway, and that was circumstance, but the strategy that Team GBR opted to do by coming in very early, getting a fresh head of rubber on, and then just focusing on being able to drive your race while other people might stay out, might come in. We never knew if there was going to be a safety car, which in fact there was. So all those things assisted Robbie Kerr make his progress, but to get to second place is an outstanding drive, and your Team GBR, after the disappointments they had to contend with back at Brands Hatch 2 weeks ago, maybe it's some small recompense. Certainly it's not the centre of the podium, but it's a pretty good start to be alongside the winner in only your second round.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he did it. There's no doubt there were several teams who were unlucky in that feature race who could and should have been up there with them, particularly Brazil, who had that dreadful stop. Switzerland, I mean, you have to feel for Neil Yarni because he was up there, he was leading in the early stages, he lost the lead to France, but it looked as though he was very well set for second position at least. And then, of course, he, like so many others, had a very slow stop.
Yes, he did, and those slow stops will have to improve because clearly you cannot afford to throw away opportunities such as that. As Sheikh Maktoum comes up and congratulates all three drivers. And there, Robbie Kerr with the Union flag.
Yeah.
It would be a Union Jack if we were all at sea, but we're not. We're here in the middle of Germany, in fact the eastern part of central Germany, and Robbie Kerr.
It's going to be nice to...
will we see the Barmy Army beginning to follow around?
Well, I found one.
European races following Robbie Kerr.
I found one earlier on, and one supporter at least from the UK, probably many more. Way, it's the big jump once again from Nicolas Lapierre. He's got the Schumi style on the podium, and in fact, he's probably got the Schumi style on circuit too.
Well, I'll tell you what, that jump, I think Michael would have been well impressed with. That was certainly plenty high enough. And fit as a fiddle, the guy not even showing any signs of effort whatsoever, as Robbie Kerr just points out to his team, yes, I've done the business. I'm sorry about the first race, but I've done the business here in the second one. And a very strong round indeed from Team GBR.
And for Canada. And a big smile there for Sean McIntosh. So the podium is complete. So, again, the national anthem of France, and it's Lapierre who has dominated proceedings here. And just that sense of relief now. It's so different, isn't it, when you see them on the top step after the sprint race, John, and they're so focused also on what's going to happen later in the day. They look so different now.
Indeed they do. Well, they can relax now because their day's work's over. When they get on the podium after the sprint race, they've really got little time because they've got to go into their press conference and then get back and prepare sometimes if they want to change overalls. It's a matter of choice, but now they get all the tension, the stress that they've had to deal with all afternoon is able to disappear, and they can enjoy their success this evening.
So Mr. Jürgen Stamm, Chief of Sport Department for ADAC Berlin-Brandenburg, making the presentation of the medal and the trophy to Sean McIntosh. And it'll be Mr. Hans-Jörg Fischer to make the award to Robbie Kerr for second.
To Robbie Kerr of Team Great Britain. And the plate to the team is by Hans-Jörg Fischer, the shareholder of the Euro Speedway.
Well, it's his first podium finish in A1 Grand Prix. And this team that is led by John Surtees and managed by John Bright on the engineering side, well, they will be so happy with this after the dramas of Brands Hatch. After the failure to finish when he was in the lead, this is some recompense for that.
Yes, it is. A fine performance. And, of course, Team GBR have got Alex Lloyd waiting for his opportunity now to emulate what we've seen today from Robbie Kerr.
And Nicolas Lapierre is given his awards by Mr. Bruce Holmes, who's senior advisor to Sheikh Maktoum. And they must be so pleased with the way the event has gone here today. We've seen some fantastic racing. Close wheel-to-wheel action, complete unpredictability. But at the end of it, France has dominated in much the same way that Brazil dominated at Brands Hatch. And it just shows you that you're going to get different nations coming to the fore. There's no doubt that Brazil, France, United States, Great Britain are likely to be up there all the time. But, you know, you're going to have others too, like Canada, for example. And on this occasion, it's Sean McIntosh who can join in the champagne shower.
So a champagne weekend for the French driver. Nicolas Lapierre gets the 2 wins, picks up 20 points. He goes to 29. The big news is Johnny Reid, who finished 4th in the sprint race and 4th in that feature race, he picks up 14 points. So he also has got New Zealand now second equal with the French team on 29 points. And Nelson Piquet Jr., despite an absolute disaster for Brazil, set the fastest lap. So he gets 1 point and he's now in 30 points, so he's 1 point clear. So there is the result. France first, Great Britain second, Canada third, New Zealand, Johnny Reid coming home 4th, so 4th in the sprint race and 4th once again in the main race. So that means New Zealand now is second equal with France on 29 points, Brazil with 30 points. And further down the field there, the other there's Brazil, Nelson Piquet Jr. finishing in 20th, so he finished outside the points, but by setting the fastest lap in the sprint race, he gets that 1 bonus point, so maintains a 1 point lead in the series after 2 very exciting Grand Prix in the A1 Grand Prix of Nations.